The Warden, one of Minecraft's deadliest creatures, but also easily its coolest if you're an aspiring zookeeper, or if you're just looking for a epic centerpiece for a build project based around mobs. There are few who can deny that this guy makes an awesome capstone to any world. But how to catch one, how to move one, and how to do it all safely without dying. Hello internet, I am Critius, and today I will show you how. So this is my Warden, and this is my Warden cage. We have Specimen 01 over there, affectionately known as Sniffles, and since we play on hardcore, certain considerations must be taken into account before you begin this project, as one wrong move will be your last. So to move this creature around and to do it safely, you'll need to do some homework, and you need to understand the mob itself, the mechanics behind it, and how to circumvent its weaponry. So to begin, we have to look at the mob itself. The Warden has twice the health of the dragon. He can kill a player in 3 hits with full netherite, and he can blast you from range for half your health regardless of what equipment you're wearing. This is not a mob that was designed to be fought, though he is farmable, strangely enough. So best to do so in the safest manner as possible. Fortunately for us, he only appears in certain places, under certain conditions. The weather, I tell you. Under certain conditions, and these are all controllable. Before summoning the Warden and before moving it, you will first have to have a cage suitable to hold him. So, to that effect, we have to talk about his darkness ability. We can see here with the faint foggy outline from the rain, you can see the dimensions of the cage used to hold him. The Warden produces an area of darkness around himself at a 20 block radius, meaning if your cage is too small or if you approach within that distance, he will black out the area and you won't see him. Secondly, if you approach closer to 20 blocks and within range of his sonic blast, which is about 16 blocks, he will shoot you through solid walls, and 2 shots will kill you. 3 if you have eaten recently and you get a little bit of food regen. Your armor will not save you. The only thing that blocks the Warden's detection is solid wool, but you want to be able to see this guy, so I've gone for an open air design. You could use glass or something similar, but you'll need to have a cage with sufficient radius to circumvent his darkness and his sonic blast. I've gone for an empty room filled with concrete. You see the edges here. The floor has been lined with black carpet to prevent mob spawns, and you can use a spyglass or a zoom feature mod of some kind to get a closer look, but this is as close as I dare get. He's already clued on that we're here. So once you have a cage established and ready to accept your new pet, you'll need to get him in, and the easiest way I've found is by dropping him in through the roof. Because he has such a lot of HP, he can survive quite a substantial fall. So at a minimum of 20 blocks above the cage, lined up precisely with his location here, I've got mine covered up here. Make yourself a 1 block wide drop chute and a channel to reach it that is 3 blocks high, and we'll go over how to move him through using water streams later. But yeah, just drop your Warden in through the ceiling, and because it is outside his range, we can remove this at a later date if you need to. Once you have a cage established, you'll need to find your nearest ancient city and start prepping the spawn location for your Warden. I will head down to the one that I used, and I'll bring you guys back when I arrive. Okay, so here we are at the outskirts of an ancient city, somewhere beneath my main base and off to one side. You'll want to clear a city as much as possible before you attempt any kind of Warden wrangling. Make sure you identify and surround several of the shriekers with wool to be used in future, and remove the rest. The last thing you want is to have unintended additions to your Warden Congo line, or mobs coming in from behind you, or any such thing. Now, mobs won't spawn in this chamber specifically. It's the deep dark biome prevents it. But if you have any additional caves or cliffs that open up in the roof above you or whatnot, make sure that you don't have any means for mobs to interrupt you when you get started. Interruptions can be fatal. Okay, so this is the Shrieker that I've chosen to have for this enterprise. It's not the most ideal. You want one of these on the ground if possible, or I should have built this on a platform further up. But you want one of these guys with solid blocks within 8 blocks for the Warden to spawn on. Mine tend to pop up somewhere right here. The rest of this is the lower half of a block, which makes it spawn proof, and therefore impossible for the Warden to appear. He only appears on a spawnable block. So these staircases are also on the lower half of a block, and he won't appear on the Shrieker itself. So I've cleared out an area all around it to give myself plenty of space, because I was paranoid and a little scared of the whole process, but it's really not that difficult. The next step, once you've got an area cleared and a Shrieker isolated with no skulk sensors nearby to send it signals, the only way to trigger this one now is for myself to stand on it, and we can control how many Wardens we get, how many shrieks we let out, without accidentally setting it off by moving or breaking blocks. Once you have your spawn area set up, nearby you'll want to have a sound machine. Now this is quite loud, so I'm just going to show you how to make one, and then we're going to just dismantle it again. So one of the simplest designs that I've found is simply to have 2 observers and 1 more block that makes noise of some kind. A piston or a trapdoor will work. I just place 1 observer looking into another observer. They read the changing block states between them and send a constant pulse of redstone, and then just slap a piston or a trapdoor at the end, and it will create a noise machine. This is designed to draw the Warden's attention and make it move where we want it. But for now, let's just break that and that, and I'll put them here for now for safekeeping. You want to have a 1x3 channel to reach this machine, with a bubble elevator in the middle to catch our Warden and send him up to the overworld. If you're keeping him somewhere nearby, obviously you won't need to, but this is the easiest way to get him from our current depth at deep slate level all the way up to the overworld. Once you have everything set up, I will note that he sometimes will hear the sound of himself entering the water stream and pause, and he can get stuck there. You may have to get on the opposite side and jump around, shoot him, get his attention, make him aggro and run towards you. I would not recommend it. Just be patient, wait, and he will eventually slide right up the chute here. Once he does, you'll want to have a water stream ready to move him to your next location. So we'll just jump right up here. It goes quite a long way up. Okay, once up, I've got a small channel that I've prepped. This is obviously not the one that I use to get him into my base, which is over that way. But you want to have a channel 3 blocks high. Make sure it's spawn proof to keep mobs from appearing and drawing his attention. You can turn corners with these too, so don't worry about having to wrangle him around things, and you want it quite high off the ground. If there's any mobs wandering around at the ground height, that will trigger the Warden's innate vibration sensor. You don't want him locking onto things and running against the current. We're going to use a stream of water to get him into position and then drop him into a holding cell. The best way to do that, I've found, is to go with ice and signs. So we want to place a sign against the top of your your lift chute, then place a block of ice, break it without using silk touch, and create a water stream. Then on the last block, place a sign here, one more against the stream itself, and then continue. And you can repeat this process as many times as it takes to reach the end of your captured area. And so we have him into the holding pen. I may not have brought enough signs for this, but we'll give it a go. We'll be quite fine. Okay, so we place another sign here, one here, and then one more against the end of the drop chute to prevent the water from going down. Place your ice, break it, and then he should drop straight down here into his chute. I've just got this set up here so I can remove him once he's in position, because I don't need a second one. Okay, so that's our spawning area is prepared. We have a bubble elevator, a water stream to get him into position, and then a holding cell to take him. The next step is to get him to spawn, name tag him so he won't despawn when he leaves our radius, and then hope to God that everything goes according to plan. We've got name tags ready. I'll have to circle back around the long way and get into the ancient city, so I'll do that, and then we'll go and do a test spawning, I suppose. BRB. Okay, we're back down in the ancient city. Everything is ready. I have switched on our noisemaker again. I have turned down block sounds though, so it's not quite so loud. And let's get into it. We'll drink a light vision potion. It'll help show the area a little better, though it doesn't help against the Warden's darkness effect itself. I'll just zoom out and show you guys this place a bit better. So we have plenty of room to move around. As I said, it doesn't have to be even half this big, but I wanted to make absolutely certain that there was nothing around me that could interfere with this. The wall is more than enough to keep the Warden in. He can't jump, he can't break blocks, he can't squat and go under things. So make sure you leave yourself a 2-block high door, or more than one, if preferably, to make yourself a quick getaway if you have to. And then you can, if you somehow mess up and he gets aggro on you, or if he doesn't go inside the chute here, we have enough room here. We can pillar up and shoot the Warden to death from a safe distance if we have to. But we'll just go ahead and get ready to spawn him. It will take 4 triggers of a Shrieker to summon a Warden. Once you've shrieked 4 times, you will summon a Warden every shriek, as long as there is no Warden within 25 blocks of the Shrieker itself. When he's coming out of the ground, he can be name tagged safely. He will not aggro the player. He won't respond to vibrations or noise during that brief animation of him tunneling up. But if you hit him or bump into him, you will aggro him. So make sure you don't stand on your Warden when he appears. Let's go ahead and get this underway. That'll be our first one. You can hear the Warden's heartbeat vaguely in the distance. Gonna give ourselves a good 10 seconds to get that out of the way. Second shriek. A louder heartbeat with that slow trigger sound. Now normally your screen will be flashing darkness during this effect, but we have night vision active, so never mind. So once we get our third shriek, there we go, a much faster detection noise. The plan is set this off, pop down these stairs, or you can just drop straight down, name tag the Warden once he pops up, and then crouch and sneak out through that door. You don't want to do anything to get his attention, and then that machine should do the rest. So here we go. Get yourself a safe distance. He's been picked up by the sound machine. He's moving towards the elevator. Now there we go. He's stuck in the water stream. And off he goes. Now, it goes without saying, do not follow the Warden up the elevator. You do not want to be in that situation, but he's also name tagged now. He won't despawn, and he should be automatically pushed to your next location by your water streams. So at this point, we would turn around, promptly leave the way we came in, and then go check on our boy up above ground. So we'll go and do that now, and I'll see you in a couple of minutes. And here we are. It seems that our transport system has worked effectively. He has popped up, been moved by a water stream around this corner, and then dropped down into his holding pen. Now, he's too tall to fit through this gap, and we're too far away for him to blast us with his sonic charge. So at this point, I can safely take him out from range with the bow if I wished. I'm just going to leave him there for now. I'll come back and deal with him later. Once your Warden has been dropped into the cage, assuming your drop chute is the correct height, you can then dismantle your transport system, clean it all up, and I would recommend keep your spawning area set up for any future Wardens if you want more in the future. But this is an eyesore. I would get rid of that. So this is all well and good if your Warden cage is nice and close to an ancient city. But what if it's not? What if your closest city is several thousand blocks away? Well, we can move him through the Nether. Now that requires a little bit of juggling with portals and going across the ceiling or digging tunnels, which I didn't want to do in this world because it's a giant pain in the butt. So I will jump over to a creative world, and I will show you how to move the Warden through the Nether to remote locations. So we'll see you there. Welcome back. Here we are on a creative world where I can demonstrate, whoops, wrong button, where I can demonstrate the transport of the Warden across long range. So on this, we're using the same seed as my hardcore world, just untouched. I'm using an ancient city over this way at the moment, and we're going to transport the Warden all the way over to here. The distance of some 22,000 blocks away, but honestly you can move him almost any distance. To do so, you want to make sure that you have your ancient city prepped and ready, although I've just gone with a natural spawned shrieker right here. There's been no planning done into it in terms of prep work ahead of time. We just want to make sure that we have a clear run to a portal with no other sensors around, no other shriekers around, and nothing that makes noise. We want to get the Warden over here without him getting distracted. Now the thing with portals is when a player moves through a Nether portal, it takes a few seconds, generally speaking, for a player to go through, but mobs teleport instantly like I did, straight through. If we go into survival mode, and I'm a player, we can move straight through and out the other side. And that's the mechanic we're going to exploit to get the Warden into this portal correctly. So we will move through into a tunnel dug out behind it, and when the Warden tries to follow, he will disappear into the Nether. Once he does, as you saw, we want to make sure that the area is prepared ahead of time. So we have a small pen here to hold him from moving too far away. It's been prepped at head height, so he can't step over it. We could also use slabs at the bottom half of the third block, which is both spawn proof and we can move under it, but the Warden cannot. And then I'm going to assume if you're watching this that you know how to synchronize portals and get them to spawn in the correct places and have all of this stuff done. This is not a early game activity, so if you're doing this, you're probably well aware of how this is done. If you don't use the Nether ceiling for whatever reason, then you can obviously do this in the Nether itself, but you'll have to construct some form of tunnel system to get him around and to keep mobs away from distracting your new pet. Once you have a portal set up for the arrivals at the opposite end, you can just go ahead and bring your channel directly to the portal frame, have it so you can jump through, and then at the other end you'll need to prep your receival area. So it's essentially the same thing as moving him through the overworld, except you need to have a different setup to get him into a water stream. I've just got a small capsule here to represent or to simulate a drop chute into a holding pen. You'll want this quite a bit further off the ground as before. You want him away from the ground so things don't distract him, and you'll want to block off the rear of the portal and then put a small landing on the front so he has somewhere to stand. If this step is not here, he will stay in the portal frame and he will just occupy that block. With this here, he will be partially on this block and partially in the frame. You go ahead and get yourself a little water stream set up, and then drop a bucket of water here above the portal frame. Now as soon as the Warden appears in the overworld, he will spawn right here, and because of his height he will get pushed off with the water and then down into here, and then proceed along through into the water stream and eventually into his holding pen. So you'll want to have a well around the portal, a bucket of water above it, a step for him to stand on, a little area here. Make sure that the water flows correctly around the corner, and then on his merry way. Everything else is exactly the same as a total overworld transport. Right, so let's go back to the ancient city on this side. We've got a name tag ready. I'm not even wearing any armor for this. We'll switch into survival mode, and we'll go ahead and get this guy coming in. Now it's important to note, when the Warden passes through the portal on this side, you want to make sure that you follow him through within a few seconds of him going through. Recent portal changes have made it so that the game will load the chunks on the opposite side of a portal for I think 30 seconds after a mob goes through, which is the cooldown needed for a mob to return back through the same portal they entered from. If you wait too long, it is possible your Warden will turn around and come straight back through again. Let's go ahead and drink a potion. Get our name tag ready. I'm not sure what my alert level is at with this thing, so we'll just go and have a look. And we can be a little reckless here. I think that's level 2. The goal here is to trigger this, get a Warden to spawn, name tag it, and then make him follow us that way. We can get his aggro up all the way if we want. There he is. Okay, where is he at? He should be fairly close. Where are you at, buddy? There he is. Okay, so he's going to come towards me if he can smell my location. This way. We're going to do a right click to name tag him and then run over that way. Name tag and run. He's got our scent. Here he comes. Boop. And he's gone. Now he's in the Nether. We follow him through, and we want to run underneath those slabs if we have to, or just sprint towards the portal and he will follow. Get your elytra ready if you need it. Oh, he's on us, and we just run. Just run. Run and sprint, run and sprint. He is behind us. We're faster than he is. If you run into trouble, feel free to just duck underneath these and you can get away from him. If your food drops, obviously you'll slow down. Make sure you're fully fed before you do this. Come on, buddy, this way. Run straight through the other side. And boop, he's through. Now, obviously, do not follow him through that portal. We're going to head back to the overworld side, and we'll go back and meet him on the opposite end of that portal there. He should be moved off, but the last thing you want to do is jump through into your own transport system. I'll get back around that way and meet him on that side, and I'll bring you guys back in. Okay, so here we are on the overworld side, where the Warden has arrived through. Now, when I approached, he was actually sort of right here at the top of the water stream. It's because he was outside render range, so he will go into kind of a stasis, and he'll just kind of chill there. Once you approach, he should be affected by the physics of the water and then pushed into the stream and then go on his merry way. So if you give it some time and come back and he hasn't arrived already, he's probably at the portal, so just check on that. So he's safely in his little pen here. From here, it's again, you just clean up. This drop chute should be 20 blocks above where he's standing, so you can clean it up without getting blasted. But there you go, that's how you transport a Warden across long distances. It should, this method, the Nether ceiling combined with the one earlier, should help you transport your big boy from wherever you spawn him to wherever you need him. And yeah, just make sure that your cage is large enough to hold him without getting killed being near it. And enjoy your new pet.